and I've come over the years to learn that I can really use this for good. I try to do as many things as possible. After this, I'm going to go read to some kids at Robinson Elementary, and then after that, I'm going to go to the Veterans Hospital for National Salute to Hospitalized Veterans. And I've got a special place for vets. Any veterans in here, by the way? Well, thank you for your service. Really appreciate it. So that's one of the things I love about my job, is it does allow me to do some incredible things. I'm a president of Acostas Adobe's Optimist Club, where the sun's always shining and the glass always half full. And I may be hitting up some of y'all for maybe some donations, because that's where businesses can really also come back. And I remember I went through a milk program at my church, and more than anything else in the Bible that's talked about is giving. More than 2,000 times it's mentioned in the Bible. And so it kind of lets you know that, as my mentor was explaining to me, as humans, we are kind of selfish. We're born that way. I mean, you think about it, when kids, they don't want to share their toys. You got to make them share. And so it's human nature that we want to kind of hold on to things. And I think that's why he was explaining to me in the Bible. That's why it talks about giving so many times, because it is hard for us to do it. And so basically God's trying to pound it in our thick heads that, hey, you got to give back. And that's where I think the business community does incredible work. I mean, just yesterday we did a story, Target. I know it's not local, but it's still, the idea behind it is wonderful. They gave $2,500 to the Tucson Police Foundation, which then in turn gave it to the Tucson Police Department, and also a lot of water and snacks and that sort of thing. I've worked with Michael over at 911, where he rebuilt that truck for the veteran. You made it look good. And so, I mean, that's just one small example of giving back. And it goes to show that you don't have to ditch your principles or character to have a successful business. It actually will help you grow and flourish. And if we think about it, I mean, God is a giving God. And so he gave his only son to us. And so it's very important for us to remember that. And, when I go into work every day, I call it my going to work prayer. And I always just ask, whether it's sitting in the light as I'm driving down Cortero. I only live 5 minutes from work, so it's a pretty quick prayer. But, I always just give thanks. I'm very thankful for my job. I have a favorite saying that if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I literally feel that way about my career. I mean, I feel blessed. I love it. I have some fabulous coworkers. And, it's kind of funny, because when I got baptized, I was really excited. And I had some pictures, and I was kind of showing them around the room. And, there was still that part of me that wasn't sure if I should share it with everybody at work. And I can't really explain why, because I love all my coworkers. But I don't know if there's just something in the back of my head that thought, well, maybe I shouldn't. But, when I did, it was incredible. Everybody's very excited, because they knew how I was. And so they've seen the transformation. It's made me a better husband. It's made me a better father. And it's made me a better person. And I really do give thanks for it every single day. When I wake up and when I go to bed at night, and I've got my beautiful wife next to me, life couldn't be better. And, I wouldn't feel that way if I wasn't a Christian. You tend to take things for granted. You kind of get caught up in the worldly possessions. I mean, this celebrity culture, does it drive anybody else crazy? Bieber fever. Oh. It makes me sick. And just the other day, Lindsay Lohan was in the news because she stole a necklace. So we had that in our 5 o'clock news, and I fought with my producer and my news director. He's like, why are we putting this in the news? This is not news. This is celebrity entertainment. Sorry, but crap, And I said that. I was like, I don't want to do it. But you know what? It's when you put it on the news, when you put it on the web story, those are the stories that get the most hits. And it really says a lot about our culture. And I've got I just turned 12. I've got a 12-year-old son, and so I'm struggling with this now. But he is a good boy. I feel very fortunate about that, because I know I was a little terror when I was a kid. If I ever heard my dad say, "Danny Don," I did something bad. I heard that a lot. Donnie Joe's my brother, and I'm Danny Don. So if my dad yelled out those two names at the same time, ugh. Anybody ever have to pull their own switch off the tree in the backyard? I'm from Oklahoma. And we even got licks in high school still. I mean, I graduated high school in 1990, and I got licks twice in high school. Once for making a substitute teacher cry. I'm not proud of that. And then another time for chewing gum. So you can see I went to a pretty strict high school. They don't do licks anymore, but they got rid of that about 1996. But one thing I've noticed, since they've gotten less discipline in school, more problems are arising.
Yes, sir.
You know? And this is a debate that we've had many times in the newsroom. I've pushed for this story. But it's almost the way that people are thinking now, this political correctness and, oh, don't hurt anybody's feelings. It's really starting to have an impact on our society. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know how the turnaround's going to happen, but it happens in rooms like this. It happens with people like you. I mean, we leave this room and we go share with 10, 15, 20 people. It's like the grassroots, what is that old thing, the sell down? Amnesty? Not Amnesty. Amway, thank you. I never liked that kind of selling. I tried it once in college. I didn't make any money. I lost money. Bought all the products and never sold them. Anybody else fall for that scam? Oh, you didn't learn the first time, huh? Oh. But, I think just another thing I like about the job, too, is whenever I get a chance, like when I'm interviewing somebody, and I hear them say, I give thanks to the Lord, or I give thanks to God, right there I know that I'm going to put that on the news. So just little things like that, if I can try to give praise in my own little way, I always do it. And even if I'm not doing the story, a lot of times, because I'm the evening news anchor, I can't get out and report as much. So I watch a lot of tapes from a photographer, go out, shoot an interview, bring it back, so I'll watch it. If that's in there, somehow, some way, I will get that on the news. And, we can all do our little part. Kind of want to give back just one last thing to how businesses giving back. And I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget this too. Businesses that give back embody the spirit of companies reinvesting in their workforces and their communities. It's important for us Christians to always stay close to our biblical principles that not only work for our spiritual growth in business, careers, relationships, and even our physical health. It's always important to remember to do this with humility and to always give thanks to Jesus, who set these principles in place to bless us and help us. Those in the world will say that I'm going to go and build a business, buy and sell, and make a profit. But we say, if the Lord wills, we'll go out, build a business, sell, and make a profit. It's a small difference in word, but a big difference in attitude and heart. And, when I was thinking of that, I went to Turkey 2 years ago. And Turkey is 99% Muslim. And so it was fascinating to go there. I went there and did a 5-part series called From Tucson to Turkey. And I did stories about, how Americans have this perception of Islam and Muslims. And I'll tell you what, that was the first question every time we went somewhere. Because it was, this trip was through Foundation of Intercultural Dialogue. So it's all about getting people of different faiths together and talk about, embrace the differences, don't fight over the differences. And it was fascinating to go to Turkey. We actually stayed in people's homes. We had breakfast, lunch, dinner at people's homes. And every time we went to a different town, we were welcomed by basically a welcoming committee that had been set up. And they would take us to people's houses. And through interpreters, we would talk to them. A lot of them spoke English. Number one question they had, how do Americans view us Muslims? And it was and they said, some of the guys said, don't sugarcoat it, we really want to know. And I told them, especially after 9/11, I told them that, most Americans can separate the fascists, the Islamic radicals, from the everyday Muslim. Because they wanted to stress the importance that is not us. And, when you think about it, Christianity has the hardcore right-wingers who will go out and kill an abortion doctor in the name of God, just like the Muslims can have their radical fascists go out and kill in the name of Allah. And so they were adamant on that, and they really wanted to share their feelings and religion with us. We kind of, we joked around because every time we went somewhere, they'd give us a book on Islam. It's like, they're trying to convert us. But it was such an eye-opening experience getting to share our differences in religion. And what I found, one of the neat parts on that trip was we went to a park, and it had a synagogue, a church, and a mosque. And they were all within this room because they were small. And it basically was to embrace the differences in the religions, the 3 major religions. And so the imam was there, the rabbi was there, and the priest was there. And they welcomed us, and we had tea, and it was just, they wanted to be a shining example for all of Turkey. Right there in this little park, in this little tiny neighborhood, I think it was in Konya, Turkey. And it was just really neat to sit there and talk with all three of them, and how they talked about how their parishioners, they would have lunches together, dinners together, and they never once fought over the differences. They embraced the differences. And when you really think about it, faith, hope, and love, that's what all three religions share the most. And so I think if we remember to keep focused on those, you know, I think a lot of people will get by and get along a lot better. That's pretty much all I've got.